Welcome to, this is going to be my video for the Gayatri Kriya as the last piece of the Ayurveda class, the 25-hour course. I have never been a yoga instructor, never really taught anything, so this is definitely new for me. So just bear with me, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My intention when creating this Gayatri Kriya was to work on pacifying some of the overexpression of vatta that I have been seeing in my life currently. And I wanted to do that by bringing in some more yin-like grounding poses for kapha and involving one vinyasa flow that really stuck with me from the class, actually, to kind of awaken some of the fire in pitta. So I did watch some other videos after I'd already started putting this together, and not really sure, doesn't seem like other people include a flow or not in theirs. This is what I've been doing, so I hope that it is enjoyable. Maybe it's only enjoyable to me, I don't know. So let's get started. I'm going to start in a comfortable seated position. Hands can be on your knees. You can hold a mudra, not, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I want to start with 3 cleansing breaths. So breathe in. The first call to pose, but you're moving a lot, is Sufi circles. We didn't go through them a lot. There's a little bit of them in the asana practice, but the Sufi circles help to warm up the hips and the spine, and they engage the core and the abdominal muscles. I like to do about 5 each direction, but with your practice, you can move how your body feels. Do a couple more, do a couple less. And come back to center and just sit for a moment and feel how that movement woke up your spine. Feel all of the feelings. The next is very standard. You're going to do a side bend. So I start on the right with either your hand or your elbow. Usually put my elbow down, reaching over. The seated side bend is included. It's really good for pitta. Opening up the side body, stretches the shoulders and the spine. You can look up at your hand. Right, I like keeping my head right in the middle. You can relax it. You want to make sure to breathe into that side body. It helps to deepen that stretch without overstretching mechanically by pushing the tendons and the ligaments. One more breath. And gonna stretch the other side. Same thing, about 5 breaths here. Making sure to really expand your rib cage and And to center. The next is moving on to the hands and knees. Going to continue with the opening and the stretching theme by doing the all lovable cat-cows. Again, I like even, consistent numbers. We'll do about 5. Taking those deep breaths. Open up that chest. Can move it around a little bit. I like to circle. All right. And right off the bat from that movement, I like to go into the one vinyasa flow, which is from Jeff's practice, the dragon flow. It brings some heat into the body. It's a little bit faster movement. You're drawing heat. Start in your forward fold, bring some heat to the head and to the heart. Roll up into mountain pose with your heart, hands at the heart center. Do a breath or two here. And bring your arms up, knee up, and step back. Bringing your arms wide into a light back bend. On that exhale, bringing your hands down inside your forward leg. Lowering to the floor. And then rotating up, stretching to the sky over that front leg. Hold here for 2 breaths. Bring your hands back down. Press back into downward dog. Raise that same front leg into 3-legged dog. Bending the leg to stretch your hip open a little more if you so choose. And bringing it back into a high lunge. Rotate to the other side. Staying in your high lunge, bring your arms up and open into that light back bend. On that exhale, bring your hands down and lower to the floor. Extend back up, reach to the sky, twisting over that front leg, and hold for 2 breaths. Hands back down to the mat and press into downward dog. Lift that same front leg into 3-legged, bending your leg over to hip to open up that hip. Step forward into high lunge and step to the top of the mat. Bring your hands up and back to heart center. And come back up here. Back to heart center for several breaths. The end of that flow usually has an airplane hold. If I run through that once more, starting on the opposite side, I would include the airplane, but for the purpose of keeping the Gayatri Kriya fairly short, I only do the flow once, and thus I just step back to mountain pose instead of doing such a dynamic one-legged balance From the dragon flow, I'm going to start bringing that heat back down now that it's built up a little bit. Stretching up to the sky into a forward fold. Step back again to down dog. Raising one leg and sweeping it forward into pigeon. Pigeon is one of the more grounded positions. It's very good for balancing pitta. It's a hip opener. It releases a lot of that excess heat from the body. As you feel more comfortable, you can lower down onto your elbows or onto the floor. I'm holding this for about a minute. It's not quite yin. Yin is much longer, but I do want to feel this stretch. I want to sink in, let gravity take over. Keep breathing naturally. And after that minute, slowly press up and bring it back to down dog. Lift the other leg and sweep forward to pigeon on the other side. One is usually a little more comfortable for me. Apparently I gotta work on my stretching. And another minute here. Opening up that hip, bringing our heart rate back down, if yours was up. After that minute, you can roll out of the pigeon. And I prefer roll on my back, tuck my knees in for a little bit of recovery. Roll side to side, kind of massage out that lower back. Squeeze in tight. Evaluate your body. How does it feel after being in pigeon? How does it feel coming back down from that brief flow? Is there anything else you need to do? Next, roll up to a seated position, this time in butterfly. And pump the legs a little bit. Pretend like we're flying around the room. most of the Gayatri Kriyas have you do a bend in butterfly. I prefer to do a brief bend and prepare for the next pose. This is one of my favorites. It is the head to knee forward bend. You're seated on the floor, bringing your leg bent in almost a figure four. You can flex your foot. Don't flex the muscles so much so that you're tight. You want to be relaxed. Breathe up. Preparation. And fold over that forward leg. This one, I do hold significantly longer. I like the practice of yin. I like the fact that this stretch opens up my back body. It stretches my hamstrings and it stretches the spine. It also can aid in digestion and enhance concentration, both very helpful things. You want to breathe in through that back body, like on the side stretches, using the breath to deepen that stretch and expand without pulling mechanically and overstretching. Your breath knows, for lack of a better word, where to stop. And slowly bring it back up. Going to do a brief recovery in Shavasana. Opens up the hip that was bent over. As I mentioned, I'm not holding these poses as long as typical for yin yoga. So the recovery is also shortened, but take a moment to see how your body feels. Mine always feels lopsided, but that's okay because we're going to do the other side. Take some nice deep breaths. Slowly sit back up to do the other side. Stretch up and fold over. You can adjust a little bit as needed. And then just breathe and let gravity help you stretch. you sit back up. Move again into that recovery Shavasana, which is also, coincidentally, the last pose, true pose, of my Gayatri Kriya. I like to end with savasana because it's very comfortable for me. It's a good place to scan my body and really connect with how those movements and stretches and motions of the Gayatri Kriya that I put together feel within my body. Sitting is great, but I have tightness and old injuries, and savasana is very calm. And because it's calm, take some time to breathe and evaluate and just be for a few moments. And when you feel ready, come back to your body and return to a seated position. Stretch up, hands together. Bring your knuckles to your third eye. Take a breath here. And then drop them down to heart center. And I know through the Ayurveda practices, Jeff does a longer, more sing-songy ending and mantra. And I learned to do a mantra a little differently, but it's one that stuck with me from one of my older teachers from yoga, and I want to end my Gayatri Kriya with that. So she would always say, Om Shanti Shanti, love, peace, and peace. And the light within me sees the light within you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in this little adventure. I hope you enjoyed it.